Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. Today, got a few things to go over here. I didn't get to the sumo thing in time, so I'm gonna cover that in a non-stream video. But I'll go over some things from Raw, NXT, and the Contenders series from Dana White. Go over my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling Destruction, and then finish off with our part 2 of the Ultimate WWE Iceberg. Oh, also a video for the Combat Sports channel. So let's get right into this, man. Whoa, an ad? Guess my ad blog isn't working anymore. Oh shit, boys.
With Prime Big Deal Days coming October 7th through the 10th.
They got me.
Greatness is a deal away.
YouTube overlords.
Into electronics, this Prime Big Deal
I think it's a
Days.
WWE video specifically. They want to make sure you ain't missing the ads, bro. So we got here. Kairi's still trying to plead her case over with Io Sky. Asuka still sprays her. She has the spray. Ripley comes in. Kairi tries breaking it all up. And Kairi looks really hesitant to help, which is interesting. Interesting developments here. Where the fuck is Stephanie Vakir, bro? Why is she just not appearing here? Anyway. This is awesome. This is great. Low blow to Rusev. Roll up from him. From Dominic Mysterio to retain his IC title. That's pretty awesome. Bailey against the Judgment Day stuff. Lyra Valkyria comes out to make the save. What? Oh. Didn't work. Oh, but she's come back. Nice. They ran them off. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins had another promo. I didn't hear much of what he said from it this week, I'll be honest. I didn't watch Raw live, I was watching football. And I was also out for dinner. Oh, okay, so they're just, okay, yeah, they're building up and towards Crown Jewels. Well, that's cool. Oh my fucking god, a rematch of this match? Except Roman Reigns is here! Holy shit! Dude, they have a whole, like, 5 seconds. Well, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5! 25 seconds before he shows up, man. That's comical. Anyway, I take some looks at Braun since Reed. That's cool, 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 that's cool. Oh my god, they're all like teaming up just to beat his ass. What the fuck? And then he just looks at Jay. Jimmy's there. Okay. Not a terrible Raw, it seems. You know, just progressing more storylines and such. Some good matches here and there. I'm sure this was all fine. Not spectacular, nothing. But yeah, dude, that women's division's really starting to shine a little bit on Raw now, so good for them. Let's go on to NXT. They became team captains. That's right. We're doing Survivor Series. It's now called Showdown instead of Invasion, which is, in my opinion, fucking stupid because the Saudi Arabia press reported that it was because of Israeli pressure to not use a word like invasion, bro. You know, it's too risque. You know, we were invaded once, and that's how terrible of them, bro. Man, if I speak. This is escapism, bro. Like, I won't say nothing, but it's gonna be a showdown. And Connie joins his team, TNA. What the fuck? Okay, this is actually, I have a really big problem with this, dude. If we're gonna do an invasion show, why the fuck? This is literally like Stone Cold joining the alliance, bro. Like, why is she here? Why is she on that side? Oh, get out of here, man. It's not what we watch the show for. It's not what we get excited for it for. Anyway, Jada Parker versus Lash Legend. Again, I didn't watch the show either. I was watching Contenders series. Looks like Jay Parker won. Cool. Ethan Page cutting a promo. Oh, that's so stupid. Mustafa Ali's here. That's cool, man. That's cool. The whole gimmick of, coming back from being fired. To reclaim what was rightfully his. I like that. I actually do like that. In a storyline sense, I like that. I don't know, people obviously are like, wow, why would you bend your will to the company like that? Ugh. I mean, you can think that for sure, but just from a story perspective, it's cool. So, yeah, promo, cool, nice. Said some things. Josh Briggs versus Miles Bourne for the last spot on the team NXT. It does not go well for Briggs. Bourne gets the win because of Matt Cardona. I don't know why there was interference in that, but okay. This is Lola Vice versus Fallon Henley. Seems to have won, and then Mad Laney Reed's here. Right, she was the woman. So they literally, at the show I talked about some hooded at No Mercy. They talked about some hooded figure attacking Lola Vice. They literally just got some person to dress up in a hoodie and attack her, and then be like, oh, it was actually Laney Reed. Oh, okay. That's a cool workaround, I guess. I wonder who actually was the one to attack her, though. Oh my god, the fucking Cullen. What is their group called? The Cullen? The Culling? Jesus Christ, they're still around? Anyway, yeah, Leon Slater and fucking Javon Evans beat their ass. So, that's cool. I totally forgot about the Culling, bro. They're not even a factor anymore, man. That sucks. I liked it better when they had fucking... What's the guy's name? Not Briggs, but the other guy. Brooks Jensen in the group. I just thought it made a bit more sense. And then we have the summit now. Okay, of everyone. So he's chosen his team. Frankie Kazarian and Moose, that's interesting. It's an interesting team. I kind of wish it was 5-on-5. Why isn't it 5-on-5? Just not enough time? Yeah, that makes sense. Sol Ruka makes sense. Jada Parker makes sense. They all set it up. They set it up enough that, there's enough inspiration. Dude, it's just... This team sucks, man. Team TNA Knockouts sucks, and then they just brawl to end the show. Yeah, that sucks, man. It's literally NXT wrestler, former WWE Tag Team Champions, and former NXT wrestler. You couldn't find a single original? Someone who hasn't? You can just put, Danny Luna in here or something. Jody Threat. Where's Jordan Grace in all of this? Surely she'd have some conflicting feelings about this. It's just stupid. That's dumb. Anyway. Contender Series. What the fuck was this guy doing? What was this guy doing, dude? Rashid Vagabov versus... This guy was -700 favorite. Dagestani, literally under Khabib. It's flyweight division. It's his for the taking, dude. Literally, if he gets his contract, the division's fucked. The division is entirely fucked. And this guy, he's talking shit to Dana White, saying he's, gonna be champ. And he's just doing fucking nothing to this guy. He's just holding. They had one cool exchange in the first round, and that's it. He just got a body lock. He's just trying for shit. Not doing much. Gets the win. Solid win, but it wasn't enough to impress him. So... Ouch. Oh, the secondhand embarrassment, dude, when he brought up was oh, you said you're gonna be a champ, but wasn't enough, man. Oh, the embarrassment I felt for him, man. That was brutal. That was brutal. Curtis Campbell. Oh, look, man. Curtis Campbell, cool and all. I think he did really great. I think he will do really great. This guy was number 1 on the rankings for this week. No. I know it was Michael Bisping too, so they have that English connection, but God, every single time these English guys come up and they're just oh my god, everyone's just oh my god, this guy's gonna be fucking this guy's gonna be up next, bro. And it's just no, bro, this performance wasn't that spectacular. I'm not calling this guy a future ranked fighter anytime soon, bro. I don't know why it's always the Englishman. First Paddy Pimblett, And then fucking, like, you know, people say be champions, and then he fucking has, like, a robbery over Jared Gordon. And he just has bad wins over, like, not bad wins, but, like, Michael Chandler. Like, he just has wins that aren't aging well. I'm scared the exact same thing's going to happen with this guy. And I wasn't going to start calling him the GOAT and acting like they were on him day one. This guy. This is my guy. Christopher Alvarez, bro. Holy shit. This Cubanza guy, 7-0, insanely scary man. Really good kicker. He was piecing him up for a while, but then, wow. Alvarez just stuck through it. He was throwing the strikes really well. He was landing them. He was doing, like, he just had him totally befuzzled, I guess the right way to say that. At the end of the first, enough for Herb Dean to call the fight off. Super underdog here. Really, really awesome stuff. I loved this performance. I really do rate Alvarez. That is a good win over a guy like that. That is a good win to take his undefeated streak. So good fight for him. That's the one I'm excited to see in the future. That's a real fucking like prospect. Luis Jordan, baby, dude, Canada, stand up right now. Stand up right now. This guy's it. He's so crisp with his striking. He looked so good. I think his ground, like, you know, there were worries about his ground game because, yeah, he was taken down in the first and almost had a submission applied to him, but his striking is so clean. His kicks are nasty. He was kicking this guy's leg to oblivion, dude. He was getting knockdowns via leg kicks, and then he gets him on the ground. He's so weary, man. Like, look at this. He's just trying for the takedown. Doesn't get it. He tries to get up. He's on top. Ground and pound. Gets the rear naked choke win in for the win. Oh, what a performance, man. I loved this. I loved this entire thing. It looked awesome. So, excited to see how he does, man. I'm not saying he'll be like up next or nothing, but I'm just saying that guy was super, super impressive. Damian Penas. Damian Penas. Looked really good here. This guy was also like a fighting nerd pupil, I guess. He was fucking doing like this guy fought like he had like Tourette's. The fighting nerd dude, because he was like, you know, he was just doing this the entire fight, trying to make it as difficult as it could be for fucking Penas to find the head strikes, but he eventually did. Solid jab that fucking looked like it actually turned his lights off already, followed by a right hook down the fucking into the temple of his skull, literally like the Ulberg fucking Reyes knockout, literally. And then he just falls forward. He's totally disoriented. Herb Dean is like a fucking mile away from the action, so like the Penas doesn't know what to do here, so he just lands another unnecessary strike to fucking Costa. Really good refereeing from Herb Dean there. Yeah, I really love it. Your positioning is great. But yeah. Solid win here, man. He was done for. Yeah, that fucking dude. He got. Look at that jab coming, bro. Like, holy shit. Scary guy. I do rate the win. It's a pretty good win here. Looked pretty good. I don't, like, you know, throw him into the list of guys that, you know, maybe they could do well. We'll see.
Expiration date.
All right, now that's over with. We all caught up. A few minutes into the stream. Let's talk about New Japan. De Japón. And Destruction in Kobe 2025. Get into this, man. Hello all from YouTube, talking about New Japan and Pro Wrestling, Destruction in Kobe 2025, Tanahashi final. This went down Sunday, September 28th. This show was good. It was a good show. It's not like a full-on like we're back show, but this was a good show. Actually, hold on too. I need to pull up my notes. Sorry. Fix some stuff here. There we go. Notes that you guys can't see. Haha. but I need so I can get into the show. Okay, so oh yeah, fucking let me do this. Boom. All right. Hello, welcome to this video on New Japan Pro Wrestling Destruction in Kobe 2025. New Japan's most recent show, going down, taking place September 28th. Pretty decent little show here, you know, some excitement, some intrigue here for sure. We start things off though. Whoops. This was originally supposed to be a 6-man tag, but it actually turned into a 10-man tag. It's Dick Togo, Dookie, Evil, Sonata, and Sho versus El Desperado, Shota Umino, Yoshihashi, and Yuya Yamura. Pretty forgettable opening tag match between these two teams here. I did like the stuff between Desperado and Dookie, setting up, you know, for their title match down the road. Everyone else just kind of did their thing. Not really anything memorable happened during the match. We may be getting Desperado and Yo taking on Sho and Dookie for the junior tag team titles. It seems they have also built that up on the road to King of Pro Wrestling, their next show. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, and then also Yuya Mora and Shota Umino continued their tag team work here. I actually do like them as a tag team. I actually do rate them kind of heavily as a tag team. I do think they are a pretty good like fit together. I do think they make a good pairing. So I'm excited for that coming up. But yeah, fine match. It wasn't as bad as most House of Torture matches, so it was all right. Up next, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Great Khan. Nothing super exciting here. It was fine for what it was for the most part. I was expecting a little bit more than what we actually got, but you know, considering how promising, like, you know, both guys looked on the journey up to this point here. But you know, it's Great Khan. It's Tanahashi. He's on the retirement tour because his knees are so absolutely shot. I couldn't really expect that much from it, but it was fine. It wasn't one of the better matches on Tanahashi's retirement tour, but it's still just continuation. He's fine going through the entire roster. Fine stop here. It's whatever. Up next, Don Fale versus Oleg Boltin. This match stunk. This match fucking sucks, dude. What a fucking shit show, man. Ugh. I feel so bad for Oleg Boltin, man, because like he's not the kind of guy to really like try to pull out an amazing match from Don Fale in 2025, dude. It's tough for him. Somehow this only lasted less than 6 minutes, so it wasn't as painful as it could have been, but it's still fucking tough watch here. Again, Bolton's always improving. I really do heavily rate Oleg Boltin. I do love his whole, you know, powerhouse gimmick he's got going on here, but you know, Fale 2025, this guy's not having another good match for the rest of his career. And it was just a set of Boltin versus Evil at King of Pro Wrestling, and you know, it was kind of like a thank you match for Fale, which I guess he does deserve. He's helped a lot of the younger generation of New Japan guys come up, and he is a likable guy, so fine. If this match had to happen, fine. Boltin versus Evil. This guy can't stop going for the Never Openweight Championship, dude. I feel like every single fucking time I watch Evil, he's going for the Never Openweight Championship. I don't know what it is, but I don't know how you're going to make that match good. I feel like when you're Boltin trying to face off against all the House Torture shenanigans that are going to come will be kind of a hard thing to present, but I guess we'll see how it plays out. Up next, whoo, these guys, man. Oscar and Yuto Ice versus Taichi and Tomohiro Ishii for the IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team titles. I'll be honest, I know very little about Oscar and Yuto Ice. Obviously, they're just some young lines, some prospects in New Japan finally getting their big break now after coming back from excursion. So, yeah. But this was a good tag team title match. I really like this match a lot, honestly. Taichi and Ishii were being their fun, regular selves. And, the Knockout Brothers. I just fucked this whole thing up. Taichi and Ishii being their regular selves, Knockout Brothers being the new punks in town, you know, that whole dynamic they have played out throughout the entire match here. There were some near falls that were really fun, some awesome exchanges, some stiff hits, and all four men really worked hard to make this match work. So, good for them. Yuto and Oscar are such a dynamic duo, and I really love the kind of chemistry they have between each other. You know, Yuto being the smaller yet more mouthy one, whilst Oscar is like the near, the 7-foot guy that's like just beats the shit out of people. It's a really cool dynamic. I love that between the two of them. And yeah, this match was great. Yuta, Weiss, and Oscar get the win. They are the new tag team champions, and that sets up between Yuya Uemura and Shota Umino. I'm looking forward to that. I like these guys a lot. I'm liking the kind of like revamping of the tag team division now. It's like picking up a little bit more than it used to. Went through some fucking tough years in the tag team division, dude. These last couple, so cool to see. Love these two guys. Excited to see what they do in the future. And yeah, good stuff from them. Up next, Hiromu Takahashi versus Taiji Ishimori for the GHC, the Global Honored Crown Junior Heavyweight Championship. Ishimori and Hiromu have had this banger. They have this banger for the Junior Heavyweight title. It was fun as hell. These guys have really good chemistry, and it's been a while since we've seen them face off, so it felt a little bit more refreshing than some of the other Junior Heavyweight Championship matches. Ishimori had a couple cool throwbacks here. Overall, he was just doing his thing. He was looking good here. Hiromu Takahashi is always fantastic. He's still one of my favorites. So him, no surprise here. This match, he had a good performance here. A couple mishaps because of this fucking speed of the match, but overall, it was a good match. Looking forward to stuff. Looking forward to the GHC event, the Pro Wrestling Noah event that Takahashi's gonna defend his title at now. So cool things to look forward to there. Up next, David Finlay versus Yota Tsuji. Alright, this match was good. Yota Tsuji's awesome. David Finlay's awesome. I've praised both these guys. But god damn, bro. This is the third time they've faced each other this year. And it's the 6th time since May of 2024. Like, can we just let Yota Tsuji do anything else, bro? This guy's having the same fucking rivalry every show. I don't know what it is. They just can't give this guy someone new. Like, there are I listed guys here. Oya, Maloney, Yoshihashi, Ishii, Taichi, fucking just fight Shingo. Like, just someone new. Give Yota Tsuji someone new, bro. God, they gave him the Global Heavyweight Championship and then did nothing with it. Why? Do something with him. He's awesome. Don't just give him David Finlay again. I mean, the match was great, but that's just even more reason to give him more stuff. Let him fight. Give him the title, Bill. That's all I'm asking. At this point, just give him the title. He's ready for it. He's ready for it. Up next, Shingo Takagi, speaking of Shingo, trying to go for the Global Heavyweight Championship against Gabe Kidd. This match fucking rocked. There was a great table spot in the middle of it. There was some great in-ring action, good sequences, stiff strikes, and the match was just a great match to watch. So really, really fun stuff here. Both men delivered really well in this one. I'd give Gabe Kidd a lot of shit, but he is still like a really good wrestler here. You give him the right guy. He understands the New Japan system so well. And again, like, if you compare him to where he was, like, back in the WCPW days, like, he's fucking grown immensely, dude. So fun stuff here. He's really figured, like, out this wrestling thing a lot. I just hope to see him kind of refine some of his more integral parts of his character, I think. Just establish more clear motivations, such like that. But yeah, this match was awesome. This is a really good match. This is probably my match of the night. It was fun. It was fun. Finally, in the main event, Zack Sabre Jr. defending his IWGP World Heavyweight Championship against Ren Narita. Oh, this match is awesome, man. Get this guy Ren Narita out of the House of Torture. I love the House of Torture. Get this guy Ren Narita out of it, bro. He doesn't belong. He just doesn't fit. Like, he's cool, but he's such a grappler wrestler guy. Why is he fucking around with this group with interference spots, dude? He deserves better than this. He's better than this. You could have thrown Shota Umino in with them, bro, but Ren Narita should have been a face, because, like, this match proves it, man. Amazing technical wrestling ability on display. The grappling, the selling from both guys was awesome. Zack always brings out the best out of Narita. Like, it just when, like, Narita has, like, his best match when he's facing other grapplers, right? And, Zack Sabre Jr. is, like, the best technical wrestler in the fucking world right now, so it only makes sense that this match would be fantastic, and it was. So yeah, man, like, good main event here, and we get ready for Zack Sabre Jr. versus Konosuke Takeshita. Oh, I'm so excited. Their match at G1 Climax was in my top 10 matches of August. I'm sure when they face off in October, that will be no different. So I'm super, super, super looking forward to King of Pro Wrestling. It doesn't look like a bad show. Low key, guys, New Japan is kind of back. We're like a little bit back. Like the future doesn't look great, but like we're establishing little bits of things, you know? Like there's going to be a point where New Japan is going to be forced to like make make changes or make developments in their roster, right? So seeing things like this and how this is playing out, and all the young guys, the Sujis, the Sujis, the fucking Knockout Brothers, the fucking Shota Umino, Yuya Yamura, it's gonna come. Developments will come. Change will happen eventually. But for now, this was a really good event. I actually really like the show a lot. One of their better events of the year so far, so good for them. Good show. Oh, I actually had a closing thing to use that. God damn it. Still not used to this live stream shit, man. Still not used to it. But yeah, this was a good event. I liked it a lot. I thought this was pretty well overall. It built upon itself. It got better and better as the show went on, which is usually how New Japan structures their shows. So a lot to look forward to here. A little bit of repetitiveness, but again, I'm semi-excited for the future. Like I said, change is inevitable. It will happen, so I'm excited to see how that plays out here. And yeah, man, good show. Good show. Moving on. Video for the Combat Sports channel. First upload. I couldn't think of any other better way to do for the first upload of the channel. Ooh, fuck. I didn't mean to do it like that. Other than an MMA GOAT list. I feel like that's the first thing you need to establish when you're making a Combat Sports channel. You need to list your top 20 MMA GOATs of all time. GOATs of all time. Yeah, man. So the way I think of it, right, and like what credits you as a GOAT is, like, I think, obviously the dominance of your division at the time plays a huge factor. I don't think, I don't think some people have this like kind of idea that, like, the more recent, GOATs are, the more you dominate your division these days over the last, it matters more, which I do think it does to an extent, but I still think you need to like look back at some of the old, like, the old fighters, the old generations. Sorry, my voice just randomly got sore. I'm not good at this talking thing, apparently. But yeah, I still think a lot of the old generation matters a lot, and I still think some of the skills they display was well enough. I do think, obviously if someone dominates a lot these days, then yeah, it's important, but there's that. There's, obviously how long you were champion, how well you were able to display your credits, how, like, the division you were reigning over at the time. I'm not good at listing, like, what it takes to be a GOAT, but you know what it is, man. I'll get into it as we go through here, man. Let's start this list, dude. Number 20. This is the top 20, by the way. So there's a lot of omissions. I'm not gonna list them all. I'll list the important ones as we get through, because people will be connected to them. So let's just get through some of these first ones. Number 20. Matt Hughes. Again, so immediately, right? People are like, what the fuck? What is this old head ass doing here? Bro, listen. Matt Hughes, welterweight division. This guy was so fucking ahead of his time, bro. This guy was super, super crafty. Super, super, like, he had a very high fight IQ for someone at the time. And he absolutely fucked on everyone in the division, bro. Like, he's one of two guys to have a win over George St. Pierre. Both times he held the welterweight division, welterweight title twice, and both times they would be the longest active reigns in the UFC. So it just goes to show you how, like, how fiercely competitive and consistent Matt Hughes was in his prime. So that's my number 20. Number 19 is Cain Velasquez. What a fucking knockout artist at heavyweight, dude. This guy was the next big thing. And he really was. He cemented his legacy. He's one of the most dominant heavyweights at the time. I think when he did become champion, he was seen as like the greatest heavyweight of all time. So I don't totally disagree with that. He beat Brock Lesnar in dominant fashion. He beat Junior Dos Santos. They had their amazing trilogy. He came away with the big winner of that. Yeah, he looked great in a lot of his fights, man. And yeah, super, super scary guy. Very scary guy for the time, dude. So, got his, the usual heavyweight, dominant heavyweight title reigns in there. 2-time champ, that's good. That's always good for your case as goated. But he is one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Number 18, Randy Couture. Again, listen, man. I get it. Listen, man. Old head ass mentality, bro. Listen. Randy Couture has done so much in the sport that we'll never ever see again, dude. Genuinely, this guy has had 5 title reigns. Nobody's ever. That's never gonna happen again. Nobody's gonna ever hold a UFC title on 5 separate occasions, dude. Right? The way he's able, the way he's just, it just matter. It comes down to like a bit of inconsistency, but still, man, the ability to come back, win a title again after he's beaten some of the best. He's beaten, Chuck Liddell. He's beaten big guys like in the heavyweight division, which aren't like, like big names and such, but still. He's also the oldest ever UFC champion at 44 years old. Could you fucking imagine a 44-year-old today winning a UFC title? Could you imagine that? I couldn't. But yeah, he came back and beat Tim Sylvia, which isn't a bad win. Tim Sylvia is he was running the heavyweight division at the time, even though the rest of the roster wasn't really that deep, but still did it in dominating fashion as well. Came back, looked great, super old guy, but super grizzled veteran. Very awesome fighter. I do love him quite a bit. And yeah, man, he's just great. He's great. Number 17 is going to be Zhang Weili. Again, you don't want to talk about domination, dude. Zhang Weili ran through the strawweight division, man. Nobody else. Like, the Joanna Jędrzejczyk wins, the Jessica Andrade wins, the fucking... the only person she lost to in the UFC was Rose Namajunas by fluke, head kick KO, and then robbery split decision. So, and then she bounced back, won some more fights, was able to face off against Carla Esparza, completely ran through her, and then has been on the top ever since. And she has an up and coming fight with Valentina Shevchenko that's going to determine a lot about her GOAT status. If she's able to win, dude, then that speaks volumes about where she'll be amongst the greats. But I think she's the strawweight GOAT. I think she just is. There's not really a lot of questions about it, man. Amanda Lemos, her UFC 300 win against Yan Zhaonan, I think is how you pronounce her name. But yeah, man, she's great. She just Talia Suarez, like she's able to beat a variety of opponents. The strikers, the grapplers, the fucking, the well-rounded ones, everyone in between, like, just amazing athleticism on display here from Zhang Weili. Number 16, mate, it's fucking Max Holloway, dude. Maybe this is a bit low, maybe, but, I think it's just because his time at the top was relatively short compared to a lot of other people on this list here, but the consistency, man, wow. This guy was solid number 2 featherweight for after he lost his title for another 5 years. This dude was the ultimate gatekeeper, man, and that nobody got through except for a few, a few. Beat Jose Aldo to win the belt, super impressive win, got through a few good names. I think, beat Brian Ortega in an awesome fight. He's losing, overall when he loses, he is still losing to just the best and the best. He has one of the toughest chins out of fucking anyone in the UFC. He absorbed 3,000 strikes, never was knocked down for the longest time. He went in there with guys like Justin Gaethje, made them look fucking silly. Yeah, man, but yeah. Beat guys he has some of the greatest performances you'll ever see out of any UFC fighter, man. If you look at just watch the Calvin Kattar fight, dude, and just the boxing on display is stuff of legends, man. It's stuff of Hall of Famers. It's really incredible to watch this guy, perform. It's always a must watch every time he fights. Yeah, the Calvin Kattar performance was fucking. That's all I think about, man. The ability to talk to commentators while throwing fucking jabs and actually dodging punches is just unmatched by anyone else in the sport. So. He's definitely going to be on my list at number 16 here. Number 15, Israel Adesanya. Trying to think about this dude's legacy is. I think, first off, I'll say he's one of my favorite fighters of the modern era, for sure. 100%. If you take any dude's career, if you want to take anybody's if you want to make a movie, a trilogy out of anybody's UFC career, it would be of Israel Adesanya's, man. The undefeated come up, with every obstacle in his path. The Kelvin Gaslams, the Robert Whitakers, the fucking Yoel Romero's, which that wasn't a great fight, but still. The road to the undefeated road to the title, the duology with Alex Pereira. I mean, I'll talk about the 5, title defenses that he had, man. Like, this guy was super active champion. Defended against all, fought really good opponents, a variety of times. Paulo Costa was a really great win. Every time he fought Robert Whittaker, it was a very solid cementing win because, again, Robert Whittaker would never lose to anyone else other than him. So it made him look like really good. Jared Cannonier was a good win. Marvin Vettori. But, yeah. And then the duology with Alex Pereira. It doesn't really, tend to your GOAT status here. This is just talking about my personal favoritism with him. But, the duology of Pereira, to lose the way he did, to be, outboxed in the final rounds, contest your battle, and then come back, win with a decisive, definitive knockout win over him is just the stuff of fucking legends, man. To come back, and then even though, yeah, he then proceeded to fall off a cliff, still, dude, you have to pay respect. This guy's one of the most legendary middleweight champs of all time. And then just this ability as well, the striking, the kickboxing, the fucking, the fight IQ he has, man, is super, super awesome to see. He's really, really great. So he's my number 15. Number 14, Islam Makhachev. We've never seen a lightweight like him before. I mean, I can't believe I just said that. Okay, maybe we have seen a lightweight like him before, but I'm speaking in terms of just dominate. Oh, fuck, I can't even spin this what I've said. I'm just saying he broke the record for the most lightweight title defenses. He's beaten some of the all-time best. He reached number 1 on the pound for pound rankings for a good reason. He's 27-1 in the UFC. Not even 27-1. Sorry, he's only lost once in the UFC. He's on this insanely long run. He's one of the longest winning streaks in the UFC currently going. Like I said, he's beaten all the best competitors at lightweight, decisively. Okay, not all decisively. But he shows the ability to go have wars with guys, have close fight with guys, and then also have dominating performances over some guys. He's still very clearly above a lot of the competition in lightweight today. That the fight with Moicano proved that. He is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. Obviously, he is the spiritual embodiment of Khabib Nurmagomedov. If he was still fighting today, here he is. But yeah, man, he is one of the best. He's one of the best currently still, and he's looking to cement his legacy even more, maybe climb the ranks even more if he's able to get this win over JDM in the coming months. So we'll see how that goes for him. But he's number 14. Number 13, Stipe Miocic. I think a lot of people's ideas of the best heavyweight of all time, dude. Super, super technical guy, super heavy striker. He's not really he never really stood out a lot, but what he did within the heavyweight division cannot be forgotten about. Beating Fabricio Werdum, defending the title 3 times. I wish I could fucking remember who he actually defended the title against. What if I just searched up in the middle of the review now? I'm gonna do that. Let's do this. I was looking at Jose Aldo earlier. Who has he beat? I should know this off the top of my head. He did Ngannou. He did the Alistair Overeem performance. Wow! I forgot about the Alistair Overeem performance, man. That was awesome. Yeah, he beat Daniel Cormier twice. He beat Ngannou. The comeback was awesome. Beating Mark Hunt the way he did in that fucking war. Andrei Arlovsky in a great performance. I can't believe he got a title eliminator in 2015. But yeah, Stipe Miocic is one of the GOATs. The ability to defend your title 3 times at heavyweight was never done before him. So him doing it here now, that's all you really need to cement yourself as one of the greatest heavyweights. Defend your title 3 times. No one else has done that yet. Still, he's the only guy at heavyweight to do that. But yeah, and then also two-time champ. Good stuff for him. Really, really good fighter. Yeah, guys, he's really good. Anyway, number 12. Valentina Shevchenko. Again, totally dominant of the flyweight division. Nobody has even come close. Nobody's come close. Genuinely, there's such a large gap between the rest of the division and Valentina Shevchenko here, man. It's insane just how how much higher above the competition she's risen compared to anybody, dude. She's beaten literally, like, I don't know what to say. She's beaten literally everyone in flyweight that you've put in front of her. Like, she's one of the longest reigning women's champions of all time. There's just not much else to say, dude. And she's still champ. She's still going. She lost to Alex Grasso, but then came back with the draw, and then came back with a decision win. There's nothing else to say about her. Is that she is the flyweight GOAT. This is the flyweight GOAT, and so she gets number 12 on the list. You know, like, that's just it. Number 11, Alexander the Great Volkanovski. I put him here. He's just outside the top 10 because he's so close. He is so close. He's on his way to being one of the all-time GOATs. He is. He is so close. He just needs a few things. I think he needs to reach the 2,000 days as champion club. He needs to, because he's on his way too, which, like, another title defense will probably get him there. And then, yeah, man, I think he really cements his legacy. We just need to see, like, how the fall off goes a little bit. You know, I think, you know, I totally can't put him up here because he was utterly devastated in his fight with Islam Makhachev, and then utterly devastated by Ilya Tupuria. But still, when Tupuria left the division, Volkanovski stepped right back in. He beat Lopez, a guy who has now proven himself to still be a good fighter. So it's a fight. It's a win that's aged well. In terms of, like, the featherweight division, yeah, man, I think he's one of the greatest of all time there. The fact that he was so, like, when you look at Max Holloway, right? The fact that he was still so, like, Max Holloway was doing all that stuff, but he himself, Volkanovski himself, was actually really dominant over Holloway, speaks volumes. Like, nobody really, like, anyone else that challenged for the belt, nobody really came close, you know? And every time, and when they did, like Ortega with him in the guillotine choke, Volkanovski found a way to get through it, man. Like, he in his prime, he's one of the most unstoppable fighters ever. Like, you could outstrike him, you could out-technique him, but he is seriously unstoppable, man, at his high. So he's so close, man. Just, like, one more defense. That's all I ask. One more defense, man. Like, if you can reach the 2,000 days as champion club, then, like, you'll be in there. You'll make, like, probably top 5 once you get there. Going into the top 10 here, I just want to say 6 through 10 are going to be guys that I think also could be arguments for the greatest of all time, but there were just, you know, one or two things that really, really stopped them, really hindered them from actually being within the ranks all time of being some of the best. So number 10 is Daniel Cormier. You know, technically this makes him my heavyweight GOAT, but, like, for reasons we'll get into, undefeated come up. He looked amazing. He was killing everybody. He fought John Jones, lost, obviously, but then when Jones had to go away, he came in, swooped in, and still showed everyone that he really was the clear second best. You know, the wins over Anthony Johnson were really proving. He beat Volkan Ozdemir, which looked really good. Like, he was still he was beating guys left and right here. Like, he was literally only ever losing to John Jones. That was the only guy he ever lost to in light heavyweight. Because then, while Jones was still away, again, and then Cormier was reinstated as champ. He went up to heavyweight, fought Stipe, laid him the fuck out, knocked him out cold, became a double champion. Look at this guy. Look how happy this guy is, bro. Yeah, double champion, one of, like, only 4 people to ever do that. Defended both belts. He was a fighting fucking champion for a while. Before he vacated the light heavyweight title, stayed at heavyweight. And yeah, man, he's just one of the all-time best. He retired at, like, the perfect moments. Only went, like, 12-3 in the UFC, something like that. Yeah, 12-3 because he lost once John Jones and then twice to Stipe. That was it. That was it, man. He beat everybody else. So yeah, he's the only thing obviously stopping him from being, like, within the top 5 is the fact that he lost to Jones. It's one of the most, like, defining losses in his career, unfortunately. It's kind of the thing it's kind of the talking point of Cormier's career is that he lost to Jones, but he did a lot else too, like, you know, prove himself as to be one of the all-time greats. Number 9, Dominic Cruz. Listen, man, everyone says, oh, Merab's the bantamweight GOAT. Merab's the bantamweight GOAT. Merab's the bantamweight. Not yet. Not yet. He does not have as many title defenses, not many title fights, title wins as Dominic Cruz. I don't care that his come up was also spectacular. Listen, he's number 2. Merab is number 2. Dominic fucking Cruz here is number 1 still. Everything that he had to go through, man. It's really just because of that. It's just like everything Cruz had to go through, man. You know, the WEC, Uriah Faber, one of the greatest to I'm gonna say Uriah Faber is the greatest fighter to never win a UFC championship. Cruz beat him 3 times. Defended his title amazing. He beat Demetrius Johnson over the bantamweight title. He had to vacate it because of injuries. He tore his ACL, and then he came back. He was about to win it, face off for the title again, but then he tore his other ACL, was laid off for another couple years. Came back after like one fight in like fucking 5 years. Beat TJ Dillashaw to win the title. One of the most amazing comebacks I've ever seen in my entire life. You know, just proving that, like, you know, through the entire time that he was gone, he still could have easily been champion. He could have had a Jose Aldo-esque title reign. He really was there, man. He really could have. It's just all the injuries he went through that unfortunately hinders his chance to be up above among the upper echelon of fighters. But, you know, like the TJ Dillashaw win is awesome for him. And, you know, people still talk about Cody Garbrandt, you know, and how spectacular he was that one night because he beat Dominic Cruz. So, Cruz is still one of the all-time GOATs. He's never, ever lost a 3-round fight in his entire career. That is something Merab cannot say. 7 title defenses. He's only ever lost 1 non-title fight, and it was his last ever fight against Marlon Vera. Other than that, he's his resume is fucking impeccable. His record is awesome. The guys he beat were still really good, and would go on to become champions again. So, yeah, amazing record here from Dominic Cruz. He does deserve his credits. Merab is close. I'm telling you guys, Merab is close. He's almost there. He's outside. He's just outside like this top 20 list as well, man. I'm telling you, but Dominic Cruz is still my bantamweight GOAT for those reasons. This is number 8. This might be controversial. I think this is probably the most controversial one I have so far. Francis Ngannou, number 8 all time. Listen, like, to the people who don't think that's true, I beg you plead your case right now. Was that exactly nothing? What? Why not? Why couldn't Francis Ngannou be considered like the greatest of all time? Like, I'm sure he hasn't accomplished everything that other guys have, but, you know, that was due to factors outside of his control, man. You know, just pissing off Dana White. You know, but like still, when you look at everything he accomplished inside the octagon, man, insane run up to the title, and he did, you know, killing everybody. He fucking sent Alistair Overeem's into like the fucking 3rd row. He did lose to Stipe pretty definitively, and then he had a really boring fight with Derek Lewis that, you know, not a lot of activity throughout that. But then he beat was it Cain Velasquez? He beat Cain Velasquez, which, you know, after a long layoff he had, isn't really impressive, but he did it in 26 seconds, which is about as good as a performance you're going to get. He then beat Junior Dos Santos, who still was also pretty old at that time, but still, minute and 11, killed him in the first round, so I think that's a pretty good win. And then the Rosenstruik win, bro. Oh my god. That Rosenstruik performance. Listen, people forget, man. People forget. Rosenstruik was 10-0 with 9 knockout wins going up against Francis Ngannou. Ngannou literally started the fight and just went like he was swimming. He just did this for 20 seconds because he knew he was going to find the chin of Rosenstruik. Rosenstruik had literally zero, like, had nothing against that. Fucking got clobbered, slumped against the cage. Ngannou wins. It's one of my favorite performances of all time because it's just so unstoppable and so menacing to see Ngannou just swing that heavily, dude. But man, yeah, again, 10-0, 9 knockout wins, gets slumped in 20 seconds by Ngannou, like, you know, and then he beats Stipe Miocic by a knockout to win the title, and then, you know, between everything that went on with the UFC, he tore his MCL, and then he had to face off against Cyril Gane, which is a former training partner, and his coach was talking to bear shit, and then his contract was about to expire, and the UFC hated him, and he tore his MCL. He still found a way to win by decision. What a guy. What a fighter, man. Genuinely, if he was still fighting the UFC today, there is a very solid chance, like a 50-50 chance he still would be champion. Genuinely. And, you know, now he's just going over, fucking around in the PFL, fucking them over, just stealing all their money, which is funny. But Yeah, man. What a fighter, man. He's one of my favorite heavyweights because he looks so unstoppable. Every single time he lost, it was like his own doing. You know, he was like, Nagano was the reason that he lost. But he avenged his Miocic loss, and I really wish he avenged his Derek Lewis loss. But whatever. One of the most unbeatable looking guys I've ever seen. He's number 8. Number 7. Khabib Nurmagomedov. He was so close, man. He could have. Again, another guy I think still could have been champion today if he kept fighting. Retired young, and I think that's the big, thing against him is that he just retired young. But still, man, when you look at on the come up and all the people that he fought, he beat McGregor, one of the most definitive losses of McGregor's career. He beat Dustin Poirier definitively. He beat Justin Gaethje definitively, and these are all guys that were still in the top upper echelon of the lightweight division today. Even some of them, he just had wins that aged really well. He just beat guys that never really looked that looked like they should have been champion. Poirier and Gaethje are some of the greatest to have never won the title. So yeah, the fact that he's able to definitively beat them so easily made him look really good. He is one of the best grappler submission guys the UFC's ever seen. Aside from the Ally Quinto win, which was fucking, the whole thing was just a mess, but still won the title, defended 3 times against 3, some of the greatest lightweights of all time, and then retired young, man. So it's just a big what if at the end of his career. But you're not gonna see arguments from people saying oh, Khabib shouldn't be within the top upper echelons of goated lists. But for me, again, the early retirement really does damper that a lot. Number 6. Maybe this is a bit low, man. But God almighty. Fucking John Jones, man. A lot to say. I do genuinely believe, I'll say this, for one, the reason he's here below and not among the top 5, he's just outside the top 5, is because I genuinely believe that John Jones could have held the record for the longest consecutive title reign by days in UFC history. I do genuinely believe John Jones could have held the title for at least 10 years straight. He really, really could have, man. He was that good. The only problem is John Jones himself. Stripped of his title, got into a DUI, hit and run, doing a bunch of cocaine, doing steroids, caught twice. He won the interim title, caught of steroids, had it vacated. Won the title from DC. Was caught with steroids, had it vacated, came back. And then his 2018 title run was really tough, man, because he beats Anthony Smith, but Anthony Smith really could have walked away with a DQ win. He really could have. What was the guy's name? Thiago Santos? Is that the guy I'm thinking of? That Thiago. I know his name's Thiago. But that was a super close fight. And then he fought Dominic Reyes, which again, should have lost. And then he fought twice after that. And, he still looked good in heavyweight. I don't consider him my heavyweight GOAT, obviously. But aside from that, the reason he's number 6 is that initial title run, dude. And actually, before I move on to that, I will say a very interesting statistic I learned is that John Jones has never been the longest active reigning UFC champion ever. He's never once been the longest reigning champ. Every time he held the belt, there was always someone there that had been holding it for just longer than him. He never, out of all the days he held it, he was never the definitive number 1 guy, number 1 longest reigning champ, which is crazy to me. But despite that, though, his first title reign, his initial run with the UFC light heavyweight championship was awesome. He beat Shogun Hu to become the youngest champion ever, which is such an accomplishment. Beat guys he beat Lyoto Machida definitively, Chael Sonnen definitively, Daniel Cormier definitively, Glover Teixeira definitively. That. It's just the initial run. He looked like one of the greats. And he is, he is still, the light heavyweight GOAT. He really is, man. Despite everything I just said about him, light heavyweight GOAT, for sure. It's just everything that, behind, like, that was, you know, in the last 10 years, it's just been craziness. So that's why he's here. Because I do genuinely believe he could have, like, even if you look at the light heavyweight guys today, I think John Jones could have beaten a lot of those guys. I think the only, like, out of everyone that would challenge for the title after he vacated it, Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev would have been the only problems for him. He probably would have beat Jerry, would have beat Blachowicz, he would have beaten Teixeira, he would have beaten John Malone Hill, he would have beaten all those guys. But John Jones is John Jones, man, and he ducks people, so yeah. Anyway, going into our top 5 now. These guys are the GOATs. Like, any single one of these people could be number 1. In my opinion, you could put any of these guys at number 1. Number 5, Amanda fucking Nunes, dude. Whew! Again, complete, like, what do you want me to say, dude? She's so clearly GOAT. I've seen people put Shevchenko over her. How? She's literally beaten her twice. Amanda Nunes has beaten she's one of the only people to beat Valentina Shevchenko in the UFC. It's that and Alexa Grasso, which she avenged. She beats Valentina Shevchenko. She beats Miesha Tate in 3 minutes. Beats Ronda Rousey in less than 1 minute. Beats fucking Chris Sauberg in the first round. Like, wins, double champ. Defends against everyone. Nobody can beat her. Juliana Pena gets the fucking fluke submission win. Nunes comes back on top form. Completely dominates her for the entire fight for 5 rounds. Looks great. Like, just simply no one's on her level. Again, it's just like Shevchenko. Nobody was on her level. Nobody is on her level. She still could come back, and if she does fight Kayla Harrison, I do think she has a good chance of winning the title again. But nobody is on her level. Like, we all know this, right? Like, I think it's pretty obvious. Yeah, when people, like, I think she is one of the first true women's MMA fighters. I think she's kind of like, yeah, she's like that, you know? I feel like when you compare, like, the beginning of the MMA to the female MMA, I feel like Ronda Rousey's more of, like, what's his name? The Royce Gracie of it all. Because, you know, he's the one that showing, like, which style actually works the best, and it was the judo. But then Amanda Nunes is the fucking Frank Shamrock, you know? Or the Baz Rutten. The very first real, like, modern-day looking women's MMA fighter to come in here and just dominate over everyone at that time. And still look as good as she did back then. So, absolute GOAT here. Number 4. Again, okay, people are probably going to hate me again because I put him over Volkanovski. Dude, Jose Aldo, man, that fucking early... Dude, you weren't there! Look at that list, bro. Cub Swanson, 8-second flying knee KO. Uriah Faber kicked his leg into shit, man. Fucking becomes the UFC featherweight champ. Beats Chad Mendes, who was looking unstoppable, twice. He beat Korean Zombie. Nobody remembers the Korean Zombie win, dude. I remember the Korean Zombie win. Before, he beat your favorites. So don't call him not the GOAT. He beat Kenny Florian. He beat fucking everyone, dude. That's why I was looking at the list. I was like, look at all these fucking amazing wins he has. People, like, discredit these wins. These are amazing wins, dude. Unbelievable stuff here, man. Again, he held the title forever. He was like the forever champion. And even when he did lose to McGregor, he bounced back. He beat Frankie Edgar, dude. He beat one of the all-time best lightweight champions in Frankie Edgar. He came back. When he lost to McGregor, he beat Edgar again for the interim title. Got the world championship again. So, I just don't see... I don't see world when you look at, like, the entire domination over the fucking early 2010s that Jose Aldo had. And even if you look at his WEC stuff, like, he's just the featherweight GOAT right now. Volkanovski, like I said, Volkanovski is so close, man. If he reaches that 2,000 day mark, he's probably going to go over Aldo. He probably will. But, wow, what a fighter. I think the fact that he's still really going and is still competitive in 2025 speaks volumes to, like, you know, just how good of a fighter he is, man. Like, he's a Hall of Famer for a reason, dude. Unbelievable fighter. Truly unbelievable. Number 3. I think. Yeah, number 3. Demetrius Johnson. Again. Yeah, the flyweight GOAT by all extents, bro. They're not even like they're bad they're not even bad. It's not even like a women's thing where it's like, oh, there wasn't any competition. But yo, bro, Kyoji Horiguchi was awesome. John Dodson was awesome. The fucking Ray Borg performance. It's all about, like, if you look at the performances of Demetrius Johnson and just how he was fucking on people, dude. This guy was so smooth with everything he did. His grappling was awesome. His striking was awesome. He had a win over, he beat Henry Cejudo as well. But like, god damn, bro. Just watch the Ray Borg fight. Ray Borg and Kyoji Horiguchi, man. Like this guy, Dimitri Johnson, literally holds like almost every single record in flyweight division. Still, today, he holds like almost every record. He has the record for the most consecutive title defenses. He's fucking like, yeah, again, he has every record in the flyweight history. He you know, he had the amazing Ray Borg fucking suplex armbar, which looked awesome. He beat Horiguchi with an armbar in the very last second. He's just one of the all-time GOATs, man. Like, you know, it's just of his division. He just really is he's the flyweight GOAT, and he did it better than anyone else ever could. So he's number 3 for me. Number 2. Look, I really wanted to put him number 1. I really did want to put him on. This is my favorite fighter of all time. Anderson Silva is my favorite. Okay, he is one of my favorites. He's not my favorite. He's probably number 2. But wow, dude, Anderson Silva was one of those guys that just made it look so easy. He just had such an unbelievable understanding of the mixed martial arts that he just made it look easy, dude. Not only, you know, he held the title against everyone. It wasn't the most stacked division, you know, but if you just look at the individual performances that he had, and, you know, like the win over, you know, the fights against Chael Sonnen, the comeback he had, and then the second fight, the domination that he had, the ability to adapt to his fighters, to his opponents. One of my favorite performance of any MMA fighter of all time is Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin, dude. Like, this guy was so unbelievably locked in. Just, he knew where he was throwing, where it was going. It's like he could see into the future. It literally, he fought like he knew what was happening. Like, he fought like a chess fighter, like a chess match, where he just knew 5 steps ahead. He was 5 steps ahead of every fighter. He knew what was gonna happen, dude. He was so calculated with all of his movements, man. And, you know, even despite, like, him not having a strong competition with some other, like, long-range guys, you know, he has a record for the most consecutive victories in UFC, which seemingly no one's going to beat. He has, you know, I don't think he had the record for the most consecutive title defenses, which, again, no one looks like he's going to beat that. He's just one of the best, man. He's one of the best. The only reason I don't have him number 1 is because of competition stuff, and I feel like I would be a hypocrite if I didn't put John Jones in my top 5, but then also put Anderson Silva as my number 1. You know, he also failed a drug test, unfortunately, so a bit of a stain on his career, and then he had a pretty bad fall off after the Weidman losses. So it is what it is, because number 1, best MMA fighter of all time. It's not a question. This is everyone else's. This is literally everyone else's number 1 as well. What do we even have to say, bro? The competition, the skill on display, the fucking ability to come back and beat everyone that he's ever lost to, the time off away to then jump back into a title fight and beat Michael Bisping for it, 2 division championship, 3 titles in total. It's Georges St. Pierre, dude. It's just, again, you want to talk about, like, understanding of the sport, man. Like, he just looks so technical. He was so technical with it all, man. You know, just complete dominance over, like, a really good welterweight division, man. Let me look at some of these wins. Let me just go back and look at some of these wins. I remember the Dan Hardy performance. Like, he completely fucked on him. I remember Nick Diaz, Josh Koscheck, Jake Shields. Like, he was untouchable. Carlos Condit, untouchable. Like, he lost. Okay, we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, man, BJ Penn, Thiago Alves was looking great at the time. He beat them all definitively. And then even when he had the close Johnny Hendricks fight, which he, you know, arguably should have lost, he came back after 4 years, beat Michael Bisping, became the middleweight champion, was just to prove us, like, hey, man, I still got this. I still got it. But yeah, that's my number 1. Greatest of all time. No question about it. And that's my list. You know? What'd you think of it? Argue about it. Comment section down below. Talk about how badly I was explaining all of them. How you disagree with all the points that I made. But how Islam, I've never seen a fighter like Islam. I feel like that clip's never going to be like, fucking leave me, dude. It's going to be taken out of context. Hopefully not. But that's my list. With that, we move on to our final subject. That's right, we're going to part 2 of the Ultimate Unknown WWE. I like I said, I was gonna do the sumo talking points, but I didn't get to it in time, so that was gonna be an off-stream video. But here, let's jump back into this, man. I'm excited to hear more crazy stuff about WWE.
He made it clear that he would return to the ring.
From our boy,
with or without
Age of
WWE,
Wrestling.
And even New Japan Pro Wrestling showed interest in signing him. Another layer to this conspiracy theory is that WWE only cleared him at the last minute to stop him from wrestling elsewhere. A move made out of business desperation, not concern for his health. And up next we have Vince McMahon covers up a murder. In the 1980s, Superfly Jimmy Snuka was one of the top baby faces in WWE.
Oh, wow,
In
okay.
1983,
He covered
Snuka
it
was
up?
romantically involved with Nancy
Did he
Argentina,
cover it up?
despite being married at the time. The two were staying in a motel in Pennsylvania while WWF was in town for a television taping. After returning to his motel, Snuka called an ambulance for Nancy. When emergency personnel arrived, she was rushed to the hospital, but it was
Put on
too
captions
late.
this time.
Nancy Argentina was pronounced dead shortly after. The coroner's report concluded that she had died from a traumatic brain injury, consistent with a moving head striking a stationary object. The autopsy revealed more than 24 cuts and bruises all over her body. The forensic pathologist stated that the case should be investigated as a homicide.
Ooh.
Snuka was immediately considered the prime suspect. According to police interviews, Snuka initially told at least 5 people, including the responding officer, that he had shoved Nancy, causing her to fall and hit her head. He later changed his story, saying he was misunderstood and that she had slipped and hit her head while stopping along the highway to use the bathroom. In yet another version, he claimed that he returned from the tapings and found her unresponsive in bed, prompting the emergency call. Just 3 weeks after Nancy's death, the case went cold. This happened after a mysterious meeting between Jimmy Snuka, Vince McMahon, and the local district attorney. There is no official record of what was discussed in that meeting, but in Snuka's autobiography, he claimed that Vince McMahon showed up with a briefcase full of money. Snuka claimed that he didn't know what happened to that briefcase full of money.
Wait, what?
But he maintained that he never hurt Nancy. These chilling revelations led to the case being reopened in 2015.
Yeah.
Over 32 years later, Snuka was arrested and charged with third-degree murder and involuntary manslaughter.
Wow.
However, the case was ultimately dismissed. Snuka was declared mentally unfit to stand
he was
trial,
super
as he was suffering from dementia and battling stomach
He was literally
cancer.
about to die.
Just 2 weeks after the charges were dropped, Snuka passed away in Florida at the age of 73. And up next we have
That
Radio
sucks.
WWF.
The hell is this?
Radio WWF was a professional wrestling radio show produced by the WWF, now WWE. It provided live commentary for pay-per-views and covered news
Whoa,
and
that's
discussions surrounding
cool.
the wrestling industry as a whole. The show ran for a period of time, but was eventually cancelled, likely due to low station syndication.
Oh.
Each version of the show struggled to attract enough stations to carry it. Because of this, recordings of Radio WWF are scarce, and what
That's weird.
remains has become coveted media among fans who are interested in alternate pay-per-view commentary and rare WWF
I
broadcasts.
see.
While a few Radio WWF recordings have surfaced online, they are extremely limited compared to the number of shows that were produced, making them somewhat of lost media from a
Gotcha,
forgotten
lost
corner of
media.
wrestling
I love
history.
my lost media.
And up next we have RVD arrested while being WWE champion.
Fucking RVD, dude. Why? Why'd you do this? Well, you're so silly, man. You're such a goofball, bro. Why did you?
In 2006, Rob
I'm trying to
Van
think of like an
Dam
actual
was fired.
real world
At
sports
ECW
comparison.
One Night Stand, Rob Van Dam pinned
Anyway.
John Cena and won the WWE Championship.
Dude, 5 years in the promotion, finally won the WWE title.
1 week later, Paul Heyman awarded
Won the
RVD
ECW title,
the
first ever
ECW
man to hold
championship
both.
as well, making him a double champion. WWE had big plans for Rob Van Dam. His popularity was at an all-time high, and he was finally getting the main event push that fans had long demanded. But unfortunately, that momentum came to a screeching halt when RVD got in trouble with the law. While driving from Virginia to Philadelphia with Sabu, RVD was caught speeding well above the limit. Under normal circumstances, that might have just meant a ticket, but things escalated quickly when the officers smelled marijuana and decided to search the car. The search turned up 18 grams of marijuana, painkillers, and a few other substances. Both RVD and Sabu were arrested, and for Van Dam, the timing couldn't have been worse. Vince McMahon was furious. Within days, RVD dropped the WWE Championship to Edge,
Gone.
and the very next night, he lost the ECW Championship
Dropped
to the
both
Big Show.
immediately.
WWE also handed him a 30-day suspension. Though he returned after the suspension, RVD never regained his main event status, and his big push
I don't think he
ended
even
just
ever
as
won a
quickly
single
as it
title
began.
after that again.
And up next, we have fan slaps Alexa Bliss's backside. Sometimes
Ah,
fans get a little
ew.
too excited when interacting.
Ew. That's
with their
fucked
favorite
up.
WWE stars.
Don't do
And
that.
can lead to weird
Oh,
or downright
brother.
inappropriate moments, like what
That's
happened to
not
Alexa
appropriate.
Bliss in August of 2017. After finishing their match at a WWE
I
live
remember this,
event,
though.
Nia
Wasn't this like a
Jax
little kid, though?
lifted Alexa Bliss over her shoulder and began walking backstage. Bliss had her head down and likely had no idea where she was headed. But just as Jax turned near the ramp, a young fan
Yeah, that was
reached
a
out
kid.
and slapped Alexa Bliss on her backside. A year later, in an interview, Bliss revealed that she and Nia laughed off the incident backstage. But while it may have seemed harmless in the moment, it's a clear example of inappropriate fan behavior. And up next, we have Jeff Hardy,
Oh
2009
man,
arrest.
fuck
In
this.
2009, just weeks after leaving WWE, Jeff Hardy's personal demons caught up to him in a major way. On September 11th, Hardy was arrested at his home in North Carolina, and what authorities found was nothing short of shocking. Police uncovered a massive stash of drugs. Over 200 Vicodin pills, 180 Soma tablets, 555 milliliters of roids, and a stash of coke. On top of that, they found drug paraphernalia and other substances scattered around the house. Hardy was immediately charged with multiple felonies related to drug trafficking and possession. For many fans, it was a brutal wake-up call, and Jeff had always walked a thin line
That's so
between
crazy,
Tyrant,
that fucking-
Daredevil, and self-destructive soul. But this arrest pulled the curtain back completely.
That's so crazy. The storyline between him and Punk, you know, talking about a lot of this, and then after he leaves, like after that feud immediately wraps up, arrested for that stuff, man. You gotta feel bad, just, you know, when you're kind of dealing with that kind of stuff, and then just like having to then portray that in front of the camera. So you just can't escape it, you know. That's tough, man. And he's still like up until 2022, man. He was let go from WWE again because he just didn't want to go to rehab, and he picked up by AEW and then got another arrest, man. Like, it's fucked up.
Completely, revealing just how bad things have gotten. The timing only made it feel darker. Some fans speculated that WWE knew about his issues and pushed him out to avoid being connected to the fallout. Jeff eventually pleaded guilty and avoided serious jail time.
I don't even
but the
blame WWE
incident
for doing
cast
that,
a
'cause,
long
like,
shadow
Jesus.
over his legacy. And up next, we have Tommy Dreamer almost murders Paul
Oh
Heyman
my
in
god, I
2017.
forgot about this.
After
This
ECW
is so
folded
crazy.
in 2001, one of the company's top stars, Tommy Dreamer, fell into a deep depression. He had stuck
This
with
is
the promotion
insane.
through the highs and lows, even going as far to invest all of his money and some of his parents' money in an effort to keep ECW
Ouch!
alive.
Why would you do that?
But what crushed him most was seeing his former boss, Paul Heyman, now working comfortably for WWE. Dreamer had once turned down a $750,000-year deal from WCW out of loyalty to Paul Heyman and ECW. But to Dreamer, it became clear that that loyalty wasn't mutual. The breaking point came when Dreamer received an offer to appear at WrestleMania 17, only to have that offer pulled at the last minute. This situation even forced him to move back in with his parents, and that caused him to snap. He then bought a gun and made a plan. He would attend WrestleMania 17 at the Houston Astrodome, with or without invitation. His intent, according to his own words, was to murder Paul Heyman while he was on commentary, and then take himself out in front of tens of thousands of people.
Jesus.
Fortunately, before the event, Jim Ross called Dreamer and promised him that WWE would hire him. That phone call snapped him out of the darkness. Dreamer later admitted that he had been inches away from making a life-altering, irreversible decision. And up next, we have John Cena, a cheater. Former WWE star
Wait,
John
really?
Cena has been
That's
rumored,
crazy though. That
speculated,
you know, that's crazy. That's just a crazy thing to admit. Like, if I actually had that plan in my head, I would just not admit that. But also, man, dude, Paul Heyman, bro, that guy fucked over a lot of people in ECW. Like, to be fair, the promotion really just could not hold afloat. But man, that guy did not pay people shit, and yeah, he was not super loyal to his fans. I find it more funny than like actually, oh fuck that guy. But yeah, dude, that was tough. He just fucked over a lot of people, man.
and even in some
What is this? I've never heard this.
outed as having numerous affairs both while dating and married to his high school sweetheart, Liz Herberdow. In 2012, Cena was romantically linked to adult video star Kendra Lust. Rumors spread of his affair with Kendra Lust ultimately led to his divorce from Liz. That is, until Kendra herself spoke out. According to Kendra, not only did she say she did not have an affair with John Cena, she also stated that the two never even met. Kendra, who in real life is a big wrestling fan,
Wasn't
did,
she
however,
at the
state
show?
that if the opportunity ever arose where
That's
Cena
crazy.
wanted to pursue a not safe for work relationship with her, she was all for it. That's not to say that Cena is 100% in the clear. While the Kendra Lust and John Cena affair might be nothing more than just a rumor,
Can we stop?
Cena was implicated as having an affair with former WWE divas Mickie James and
Okay,
Cara.
again, nothing came of that. That
Now
wasn't
next we have the
rumors, dude. That sucks that it led to divorce, though, but literally no proof.
tragedy
This
of
is,
China. China was a
God,
trailblazer,
this is sad.
a woman who shattered barriers in a male-dominated industry. She redefined what was possible for women in wrestling, but after leaving WWE in 2001, her life spiraled into darkness. After WWE, China turned to the adult film industry, starring in multiple films, including one with her ex, X-Pac, titled One Night in
X-Pac?
China. The wrestling world watched as
I have not
she
seen One Night in
became more
China, by the way.
detached, more lost, battling addiction and mental health struggles. She appeared on Celebrity Rehab, revealing a deep struggle with alcohol and prescription drug abuse.
That's a disgusting
WWE
show.
even offered to pay for her rehab, but China refused, paranoid about their intentions. By 2016, she was living in isolation, her life a cycle of brief attempts at recovery followed by relapses. Then on April 20, 2016, China was found dead in her home at age 46, and the cause was an accidental overdose of alcohol, oxycodone, Xanax, and muscle relaxers. The news devastated the wrestling community. Once an icon, now gone.
Tough.
It wasn't until 2019 that WWE finally inducted her into the WWE Hall of Fame. But even then, it was a part of DX, not as an individual. And she still has yet to be inducted as an individual to this day.
I don't think she will,
And
unfortunately.
up next, we have the scratch logo appear.
Okay,
before
this
the
is super
Attitude
cool,
Era.
actually. I think, did I
Everyone
talk about
associates
this?
WWF's
I think I might have,
iconic
but this
scratch
is
logo
super
with
cool.
The rebellious, blood-soaked chaos of the Attitude Era, a symbol forever linked to Stone Cold, The Rock, and that era's unapologetic edge. Officially, it debuted in 1997 as part of the WWF's full rebranding into something darker, edgier, and more real. But
Yeah.
this is a strange anomaly buried deep in gaming history. In the 1994 video game, WWF Raw, released 3 years before the Attitude Era began, fans
94,
noticed
dude?
something chilling.
Like,
During the loading screen before matches, a small but unmistakable version of the
Look at
scratch logo
that!
appears on the
Holy
side of the ring
shit!
monitor. It's not a glitch. It's not a coincidence. It's the same jagged, aggressive
They were-
logo that wouldn't become
that's
official until
crazy.
much later. No official explanation has ever been given, but if you look close enough, the Attitude Era may have started long before Vince.
it's just a crazy thought, because it means, like, the only way I can think of that, right, is that they were just planning. They had this idea in mind of kind of rebrand to be edgier. In 1994? That's just so weird. Maybe, I don't know. I can't think of another explanation for it. Because, like, it wasn't like in 94 they were trying to be more edgier or, like, edgy and, like, failing. Like, 96, maybe, but, like, 94, they were still very much, like, family-friendly kind of stuff, man. And it wasn't even like WCW was huge competition that was doing that kind of stuff at the time, though, that kind of spurred that idea. They just kind of had this logo, like, kept away, I guess, forever, which is nuts.
McMahon ever said the word attitude on TV.
Yeah.
And up next we have Brian
Christ.
Pillman. Brian Pillman was a wild card in professional wrestling. A man whose loose cannon persona blurred the lines between fiction and reality.
One of the best characters of the late 90s ever, honestly. It's a huge what if.
But behind the chaos of his character was a body breaking down.
Unbelievable
Years of
promos.
injuries, including
Yeah,
a
that sucks.
devastating ankle injury. In a
I've talked about him a lot before, you know, in like whenever the WCW channel uploads like you know, an old pay-per-view and he's on there. His match is almost always worth watching. So, and then he turned into one of the most a really great character, and then
crash.
injuries,
Lifting
and then a
reliance
car
on
crash,
painkillers
and
just
then
to
a
keep
painkiller
performing.
addiction.
His body was deteriorating, but he
Ugh.
refused to slow down. He signed with WWE in 1996, but by then he was a shell of the athlete that he once was, wrestling through excruciating pain. On October 5, 1997, Pillman was scheduled to face Dude Love at WWE's In Your House Bad Blood pay-per-view, but he never showed up. Concerned, police forced their way into his Bloomington, Minnesota hotel room. Inside, they found Pillman dead at just 35 years old. The cause was a massive heart attack caused by an
35.
undiagnosed heart disease, the same genetic condition that had taken his father's life at a young
Oh.
age. Years of painkiller use and physical abuse had only exacerbated the inevitable. WWE's handling of his death was disturbing. The next night on Raw,
No. I'm not doing this. I can't do this. I can't. I don't think I've been more disgusted. This is so disgusting. What, like, literally, okay. So he's found dead on Sunday night. And then Monday night, Vince fucking McMahon sets up an interview with his wife to be broadcasted live 24 hours, not even after he was found dead. Of what it's one of the hardest watches like you'll ever fucking see in your life, man.
WWE aired an interview with Pillman's grieving widow, Melanie, pressing her about her drug use and financial troubles.
Oh my
that Raw
god!
many saw
What the fuck's wrong with you, man?
as insensitive and exploitative.
Oh,
And up next,
so
we have the
gross.
Charlotte Flair and
Really?
Nia
This is
Jax
this-
shoot.
that's lower than what I just saw. This is lower. This is just a little scrap. Little scrap
The
between.
incident happened during a match between.
You know what's
Nia-
fucking crazy though is like, okay, I guess I did talk about Lesnar, Strowman, but like people look at this like a negative light. It's like, oh, what the fuck, man, this is terrible. Like when this shit just happens. This is a thing that happens in wrestling sometimes.
Jax and Charlotte Flair on the
This is
August
awesome,
30,
though.
2021 episode of Monday Night Raw. At one point, the match took a turn for the worse, and it became evident that the two were clearly not cooperating. Nia Jax's back suplex on Charlotte, which dropped her hard at a slight angle, may have set the stage, because after that, the two started to
They
hit each other.
started like
with
actually
legitimate
punching
strikes,
each other.
with Jax trying to swat her away and audibly yelling, "Go, don't," to her opponent. After a few pushes and slaps, the Queen began sandbagging on maneuvers, and Nia responded with a few retorts. There were other embarrassing situations where one of them attempted to execute some prearranged
Oh,
maneuvers,
embarrassing.
but the other person failed to receive the memo.
The match was
throwing
bad.
The timing entirely off. When Nia Jax pinned Charlotte after a very stiff powerbomb, the situation thankfully ended.
That's awesome
And
though.
up next, we have the
Oh,
Fabulous Moolah
Christ.
allegations.
Not
The
awesome.
Fabulous Moolah was a legendary and pioneering figure in women's wrestling. Rising to prominence in the mid-20th century, she became one of the most successful and enduring female wrestlers of all time. Her career spanned decades, and she famously held the Women's World Championship for an unprecedented 28 years.
She didn't though. I was just recognized by that. Total bullshit. She held it for a lot of years. Wasn't 28.
Effectively giving her a monopoly over women's wrestling for generations.
Yes, that's
However,
unfortunate.
beneath the surface of her legacy.
Yeah, so she was
lies
like the women's wrestler for 30 years. She was the top girl. But she used that ability to traffic her students.
a far darker story. Moolah operated a wrestling school. Multiple women have come forward accusing Moolah
What the
of acting as a
fuck?
pimp.
Why is this in Yahtzee? What the fuck? You really can show like it's pimped.
Providing a
What the
trainees
fuck,
to
man?
wrestling promoters under
That's
the guise of
hilarious.
booking, only for those women to be used as
Oh,
objects by
Jesus
promoters
Christ,
and male
dude.
wrestlers. Many claim that they were not told of these arrangements beforehand, and those who refused to comply were reportedly R-worded. Some also
The dude was,
alleged that
like,
they were given
smiling through
hard
how fucking
drugs,
weird that
seemingly
was.
as a way to create addiction and dependency, further cementing Mullah's control over them. Disturbingly, there are also reports that some trainees were also forced to engage in lewd acts with Mullah herself in order to stay in her good graces. Mullah herself would openly be homophobic, but she would engage in lesbianism, revealing a deep layer of hypocrisy and manipulation. These horrifying allegations have since tainted
cool.
Mullah's legacy.
That's awesome.
And up next we have Hulk Hogan chokes out a TV
This was
host.
awesome too.
In the build-up to the very first WrestleMania, just 5 days before the event, Hulk Hogan appeared on a talk show called Hot Properties, hosted by comedian Richard Belzer. Belzer, known for a sarcastic tone, repeatedly insisted that Hogan and Mr. T demonstrate a wrestling move on him. His attitude was that wrestling was fake, a dangerous opinion to voice during the kayfabe-heavy era of the 1980s. Hogan and Mr. T initially resisted, clearly uncomfortable with the idea of breaking character or exposing the business on live television.
So let's just put this guy in a real
But Belzer
choke.
wouldn't let it go. He kept pushing, and eventually Hogan gave in. What followed was no demonstration. Hogan legitimately locked Belzer into a
There it
front
is.
chinlock and applied real pressure. Within seconds, Belzer was choked out unconscious, collapsed limp to the studio floor, smacking his head hard as he landed. The moment was
He's
caught
like,
live on
Mr.
camera
T
and
was
left
so
the audience
casual about
stunned.
that too.
Belzer later sued Hulk Hogan for $5 million,
That didn't go anywhere, I don't
citing
think.
serious personal injury. The case was eventually settled out of court, but the incident has since become a legendary cautionary tale in wrestling. And up next, we have the Mr. Perfect
Oh my fucking god, how many times do I have to explain this? This was in your last Iceberg, Age of Wrestling. Kurt Hennig. Not Kurt Henning.
Mandela effect.
Can I skip this
There
one?
is a
I've literally...
phenomenon isn't really that's how
Kurt Hennig? No, Kurt Hennig.
SA.
Oh my
in
God.
addition to- And up next, we have the Jerry Lawler SA. Jerry Lawler, in addition to being a legend.
It's kind of funny how, like, you know, not publicized, but, like, critiqued he is for this when, like, the victim, there was lack of evidence, I believe. I'll explain it.
Legendary Memphis
I'm saying he didn't do
one
it.
half of the greatest announcing duos in the history of the business. Jim Ross doing play-by-plays plus
Not
Jerry
saying he's a good
Lawler
guy
doing
either, it's
comedic
just-
heel commentary was
He's
absolute
definitely a
gold.
perv.
But in 1993, Lawler faced a scandal that could have destroyed his career. Lawler was charged with the R word of a 13-year-old
Why the
girl,
fuck are you
and although these
Where's the
charges
stock
were eventually
video, bro?
dropped, Lawler did plead guilty to harassing a
Witness!
witness in the case who was a 14-year-old girl
case was
who
dropped.
going to testify against him. Initially, WWE suspended Lawler.
What do you
when
say?
it
I didn't even-
actually dropped. Lawler did plead guilty to harassing a witness in the case who was a 14-year-old girl who
Oh.
was going to testify against him. Initially,
That's not a good
WWE
look.
suspended Lawler, but then they let him back into the fold after the worst charges were dropped. And now we're moving down the iceberg.
Holy shit,
into
dude.
Tier 7.
2.
With our first entry on Tier 7 being the Ultimate Warrior replaced Conspiracy Theory.
Whoa.
The Ultimate Warrior was one of the biggest stars in the WWF during the late 80s and was seen as the heir to Hulk Hogan's throne after defeating him for the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 6 in 1990. However, Warrior didn't quite pan out as the long-term top guy WWE had always hoped
Bit of a dickhead.
After losing the title the following year,
Hard to
a
work
series
with.
of creative disagreements culminated in the Warrior being fired following SummerSlam 1991. Though Warrior was eventually rehired in 1992, fans noticed something odd. He looked different. He had shorter hair, appeared significantly leaner, and carried himself differently in the ring. This sparked a long-running conspiracy theory that Jim Hellwig, the man behind the original Ultimate Warrior, had died, and that a replacement performer had been put under the paint. Some fans even speculated that it was Kerry Von Erich, better known as the Texas Tornado, who had taken up the mantle.
I do love this
of the Warrior.
conspiracy theory a lot,
The
though. I
timing of
cannot
Von
lie.
Erich's push, his similar physique, and the coincidental absence of both men at various times only added fuel to the theory. And up next we have Chris Benoit appears in the WWE Thunderdome. During
Oh,
WWE's
fuck's sakes.
Thunderdome era in 2020, where fans' live video feeds were broadcasted onto virtual screens, a bizarre, unsettling
I should have done
moment
that,
occurred.
man. I really should have
Chris
applied for
Benoit's
that.
face appeared not
That'd've been
once,
cool.
but twice. The first incident happened shortly after the Thunderdome concept launch. A fan managed
Oh
to
my
display
God,
a
there he
image of
is!
Benoit's face
He's
on the
back!
screen, causing
Holy
immediate
shit!
controversy. WWE quickly cut the feed, but the damage was done. The internet had already captured screenshots. A second
Oh
report
my
followed
God, he's
not
back
long
again!
after, with yet another Benoit image
Jesus
making it onto the
Christ.
broadcast. After this, WWE tightened its security.
Oh, it should have
implementing
banned
stricter
image list.
monitoring of fan feeds to prevent further.
I can't make out anything else except for the wrestling logos. That's awesome, though.
The incidents. The appearances of Benoit's images in the Thunderdome sparked debates. Some saw it as a
Debates.
dark joke.
Yes,
Others viewed
man.
it as an attempt to force WWE to acknowledge a figure that they had erased from history. And up next, we have
Oh,
the Tony Storm
fuck's
leaks.
sakes.
AEW star Tony Storm has previously
Oh.
opened up about her ongoing battles with depression and
Yeah,
anxiety
this sucks.
in the past, stating that it all began when she was 16 years old. Tony Storm got into wrestling to help her mental health, but already 3 years into the wrestling business, Storm suffered serious bouts of depression with the death of her grandfather, issues with family, and struggling to make it in a male-dominated industry. Things got progressively worse for
Ew.
Storm as a private video was leaked all over the internet of
19
her pleasuring herself.
19 years old.
She felt violated and mortified and feared the video leak could ruin her career. She decided to cut off mostly everyone, including some family and friends. Around that time, she won the NXT
Yeah, unfortunate
UK
hand
Women's
tattoo.
title, but admitted that the title victory was during some of her darkest days. Thoughts of ending her life creeped in and out of her mind during that time. Thankfully, she credits a close inner circle of friends and family that helped her through her dark times. And up next, we have DX Blackface. One of the most infamous and controversial
Can't do this
moments
anymore.
in WWE and in D-Generation X
Can't do this
was the
anymore.
segment where DX mocked the Nation of Domination by wearing blackface. It's a moment WWE would very much like fans to forget. In the segment, Triple H portrayed The Rock in full blackface, with Sean Waltman dressed as Mark Henry, Road Dogg as D'Lo Brown, and Billy Gunn as The Godfather. This skit was meant to be comedic at the time, but in retrospect, it's widely condemned as tone-deaf.
It's a funny
and
segment,
deeply
but
offensive. WWE has since scrubbed the segment from all official platforms.
yeah, you can't.
But for those who remember,
Can't.
or for those who have seen the footage resurface online,
fuck?
there's no denying that it happened.
That's a
and
funny
it
as
remains
hell
one
picture,
of the
man.
company's most shameful moments. And up next, we have the Vince McMahon.
There we
sent
go.
Vince
That's what I
Russo
talked
to
about
kill
earlier.
WCW
This is
conspiracy theory.
this is true.
In the mid to late 1990s,
This is true.
Vince Russo was the
I
head
believe
writer
this.
for WWE and played a major role in shaping the direction of the Attitude Era. His edgy, unpredictable storytelling style.
Yeah, so he came in 98, like late 98, the whole Survivor Series 98 tournament thing. Awesome. Very fresh, new ideas, exactly what they needed for the Attitude Era. Time went on, seemingly started to stop caring or just got a little bit like too crazy, outlandish. It was still popular, but the product was kind of getting shit. So he left, went to WCW. When they were kind of struggling with ideas, really. They really didn't know what to do, so they brought him in. Russo did even more to like fuck shit up, man. Super chaotic show. Company was dead in 2 years. Like that's the gist of it.
Was a defining feature of WWE's resurgence at that time. According to Russo, he left WWE in the summer of '99 because he felt the addition of SmackDown stretched his creative limits too thin and would water down his work.
Which fair.
Shortly after, Russo
But then you went
jumped
to a show
ship
that had they went to
WCW,
that
replacing
Thunder.
Eric Bischoff at a time when the company was already in decline.
Fuck.
With falling ratings, poor pay-per-view numbers, and dwindling attendance. Under Russo's creative control, things didn't get better. They got even worse.
Even
His time in
fucking
WCW
worse.
was marked by chaotic storytelling, bizarre swerves, and questionable decisions, including booking himself as the WCW
Booked
World
himself.
Champion.
Like this
Fans
dude's
and
literally
critics-
just a writer for the show. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna give myself the world title. That's fucking. Honestly, that's kind of awesome in retrospect.
Believe that
but
Russo's
Jesus
vision only
Christ.
accelerated WCW's downfall. This gave birth to one of wrestling's most persistent
Yeah, a lot of people
conspiracy
didn't. Yeah.
theories, that Vince McMahon sent Russo to kill WCW on purpose, a Trojan horse designed to sabotage the competition from within.
That's
This
awesome.
theory claims that Russo's reckless
Could
booking
you
wasn't
could
just
you
bad.
imagine like being that bad of like a booker or like a writer that like people thought they were using over there on purpose to kill that promotion?
It was intentional. Whether or not that's true, Russo's time in WCW did coincide with the company's final downward
That's
spiral.
insane,
And to
dude.
this day, some fans believe that Vince McMahon's fingerprints were all over it. And up next we have the Drew McIntyre and Tiffany domestic incident. Before he became a world-traveled indie star, and long before his redemption arc in
Stratton or the
WWE,
older Tiff? Is there an
Drew
older Tiffany?
McIntyre was the chosen one, handpicked by Vince McMahon himself. He was once viewed as the future of the
There
company.
is, isn't there?
But in 2010,
Oh my God.
everything changed. Drew's
Yes.
promising rise came to a halt after a disturbing domestic incident involving his then wife, Taryn Terrell.
Oh
known to
right,
WWE
that's Taryn
fans
Terrell.
as
Yeah.
Tiffany.
Wait, they had
In
a.
August of that year, police were called after an alleged physical altercation between the two. But in a twist that many fans don't realize, Drew wasn't the aggressor. He was the victim. Tiffany was arrested and suspended indefinitely by WWE. Though the details of the fight were kept mostly under wraps, the damage was already done. Taryn was eventually released from the company and the couple split, but Drew never recovered his standing. Despite his innocence, Drew's reputation
actually
seemed
totally
to
forgot
suffer
about
behind
that.
the scenes. Once seen as a future world champion,
I don't
McIntyre
think
was
that
quietly
stopped
demoted
it,
to the
though.
lower card, eventually becoming part of the comedic, career-killing faction of 3MB. For years, he was just a punchline.
I
Another
do
lost
quite love the fact like how they talk about 3MB and how it was like literally the worst thing ever. Like even WWE's like, wow, we kind of fucking blew with that angle, that story. I totally forgot about the whole domestic incident. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. That's weird, bro. Cause like Taryn Terrell like went on to have a better career, like not Drew, but like a good career. That's crazy. I
opportunity
forgot
in
about that.
WWE's long history of failed pushes. It wouldn't be until much later, after leaving the company and reinventing
10 long
himself as
years.
Drew Galloway,
11
that he
long
began to reclaim
years.
his name. And And up next, we have the
Ah,
Batista
shit.
and Melina scandal.
Oh, this is.
Batista has gone on record labeling women as his drug of choice during his time on the road with the WWE. This penchant for bedroom activity activated a locker room scandal involving him and diva Melina. It was reported in the past that the Animal got together with the 5-time women's champion while she was still dating WWE star John Morrison. Just to add a bit more fuel to this alleged fire, it was also reported that Batista was still with his wife, who had been suffering from cancer when the alleged affair took place. After the affair ended, Melina would then end up back in a relationship with John Morrison, which reportedly rattled Vince McMahon up the wrong way, as in his eyes, it made John Morrison look weak. And up next, we have the Kurt Angle and Daniel
This is really
Peter
funny.
shoot. This shoot incident all went down on the November 4th, 2004 episode of SmackDown. During the show, Season 4 finalists of WWE's Tough Enough were challenged to a squat thrust competition, which contestant Chris Norocki ultimately won. His prize was an unexpected
Chris
off-the-cuff shoot match
Norocki?
against the Olympic gold medalist and grappling legend Kurt Angle. As you'd assume, Angle made pretty quick work of Norocki, legitimately fracturing his ribs and awarding him a one-way paid ticket to the ER.
Yeah, that's very nice
All
of him.
jacked up, Kurt then extended the shoot challenge to the others, and Daniel Puder took him up on it. After a quick face-off in the ring, the two locked up. Soon, Puder legitimately had Kurt Angle in a Kimura lock. Daniel had gained the full position and could have broken Kurt's arm and sent him into surgery if he wanted. This was obviously not how anyone expected things to go, so veteran referee Jimmy Corderas quickly counted to 3, even though Puder bridged out at 2. As it turned out, Kurt Angle was reportedly less than happy about what transpired, as he felt that he was made to look like a chump to a relative nobody, and he was also angry at the fact that Puder could have legitimately broken his arm. The boys in the locker room were also less than very happy about it, and they sought out to get
that
revenge
sucks,
for the sake
man.
of Angle and the rest
That's
of the business.
insane.
So at the next Royal Rumble, the first 4 entrants were Puder,
Okay.
Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and
This is so funny, dude. Like 3 of the biggest like locker room hazers. I don't know if we want to call it that, dude. 3 of like the meanest guys backstage sometimes, bro. They come into the Royal Rumble. Peter comes in number 4, and literally for like the next 2 minutes, it's legitimately just to beat the shit out of Daniel Puder for doing that.
Bob Holly. The 3 men beat the crap out of
They
Puder
beat
for
the
a few
fuck
minutes,
out of this
then
guy.
threw him over the top rope. Puder's wrestling career never
And
really
they
took
literally
off
did
after
nothing.
this
It was
incident,
literally
and
just
he
to
was
fucking
soon
beat him
gone
up.
from WWE.
They booked this.
And up next, we have the
Oh, this is
downfall of
also
Sonny.
sad.
Once dubbed the blonde bombshell of WWE, Sonny was one of the biggest stars of the 1990s, often considered WWE's first true diva. She was so popular that, by the late 90s, she had earned the title of the most downloaded woman on the internet. But while fans
Yeah,
saw
that's
a
true,
glamorous
definitely.
figure on screen, behind the scenes, her life was unraveling. During her WWE run, Sonny struggled with substance abuse, which eventually led to a firing. She had a short stint in WCW, but that too ended quickly, surrounded by rumors of drug use, including an incident where she was allegedly found passed out in the showers after ingesting Nubane, a powerful painkiller. From 2001 to 2003, Sonny shifted into adult modeling, regularly posing nude for Missy Hyatt's Wrestling Vixen's website. She eventually disappeared from the spotlight for a while, only to return in 2016, this time starring in an adult film under a contract with Vivid Entertainment. The controversy wasn't the film itself, but the fact that she wore her WWE Hall of Fame during the shoot.
Gross.
Sonny's story turns from sad to
Oh, that
deeply
just gets really
disturbing with a long
sad.
history of criminal behavior. Her legal
So
troubles began escalating in
many
2012, with
DUIs.
5 arrests in just 4 weeks, ranging from disorderly conduct to third-degree burglary and multiple violations of protective orders. Over the years, she would rack up numerous DUIs and other charges, including an arrest for threatening to murder her partner with a pair of scissors, and another for making terroristic threats in January of 2022. But her darkest chapter came just 2 months later. In March of 2022, while driving under the influence of alcohol, Sonny
The
slammed
fuck
into
is
the
this?
back of a car driven by a 75-year-old man.
Yeah,
causing
he
a fatal
killed him.
crash. Her blood alcohol
killed
content
someone.
was 0.280, more than 3 times the legal limit, and she was driving without a valid license too. This incident led to her being sentenced to 17 years in prison.
God almighty,
marking
she
a
looks
tragic final descent for someone
horrible.
who once stood at the very top of the wrestling world.
Oh,
And up next, we have Triple H doesn't jog,
what is this?
even in video games. Triple H's reputation for backstage political power has been debated for years, but in 2008, it extended beyond the ring and
This is
into
pretty
the
funny.
virtual world. During the promotional campaign for SmackDown vs. Raw 2009, WWE sent a very peculiar memo to the gaming press. Under no circumstances was Triple H to be depicted losing, being beaten down, or shown in any kind of vulnerable position. He had to look strong, always.
To the
This
game?
wasn't just about real matches anymore. Now even Pixels had to protect the game's legacy. Most outlets complied, carefully selecting footage and screenshots that kept Triple H looking like the King of Kings. But Fighting Spirit magazine ignored the directive, publishing a screenshot of Triple H getting demolished in-game. Fans laughed and critics nodded, but behind the scenes, it likely ruffled feathers, because if there's one thing you apparently don't do, it's showing Triple H
did they actually
being a
get
virtual
fucking...
finisher. And up next, we have the Seth
Oh my
Rollins
god, I'm
match.
gonna end it there. We'll get into that next... in part 3, we'll get into that. That's fucking interesting, bro. Oh. Gonna end it there. Gonna end the stream there. Thank you guys very much for watching, tuning in. You guys have a great rest of your day. Next live stream, UFC 320 predictions, my favorite matches, and some more reviews that need to be done for UFC BJJ I'm going to talk about. I think that's going to be it. It's just UFC BJJ. Actually, I can look at my schedule right now. But I think that's it. Yeah. It'll just be UFC BJJ 3. It'll be an interesting show. But that'll be next stream. For now, I hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you guys in the next one. That's gonna do it for me. I can never remember my outro. That's just fucked up of me. That's gonna do it for me. I'll see you guys in the next stream. Goodbye.